Welcome to Tell Me Your Story. I'm Richard Dugan, your host. Sometimes, I go by Reverend Dr. D. The Reverend is a real thing. The doctor was given to me by one of our programmers, and I thank you for joining me, Richard Dugan, here on Tell Me Your Story. I also thank my very special co-host on this edition of Tell Me Your Story, Lumari of Lumari.com, for joining me. And here we are, the first Wednesday in December, and we've got a very, I think, very interesting perspective, or I should say conversation and perspectives to share when it comes to the energies surrounding appreciation and gratitude. Now, those are two different things that we're going to define. But Lumari, first of all, thank you for being here. The 12th month that we have been working together. Thank you for being here.
This is gratitude and appreciation for being able to play and participate here with you.
Well, let's define. I like to, with some of my guests, I will do that, define terms. Let's talk, what is appreciation? Sounds self-explanatory, but for those who don't have a dictionary in front of them, and maybe who have trouble not only receiving appreciation, but sometimes even expressing appreciation to others.
Well, appreciation is when you actually receive, recognize, understand, and are excited and joyful about, I'll just say, something, right? Because we can define what you can be appreciative of, but you appreciate it. You look at it and it's like, oh, this is so wonderful. Oh, this is so beautiful. Oh, this really makes a difference. Oh, I never recognized this in this way before. So one aspect of appreciation is a recognition, like you're connected, you see it, you understand it, and the other is an opening. So being in the space of appreciation actually opens you to more. It opens you to be able to breathe something in. And appreciation can be something that's really small and subtle, and it can be huge.
Mm-hmm. And I find that interesting that most of these attributes, if you will, in one's personality seem to do that same thing. They open us up to more, whether it's appreciation, whether it's gratitude, for that matter, even whether it's forgiveness of self and others. It opens us up to more. And in our life and in our world, our country, if you will, that seems to be sort of a little bit of the mantra, I want more, I want more, I want more. But that's not the more we're talking about.
No.
It opens us up to more of what life has to give us.
Yes, and the beauty. And so we have a space of contrast right now that is very, very prevalent in our country. We can talk about all the different things, but you and I are not going to. but it doesn't create an opening. What it creates is this side, yes, I agree, disagree, okay. So then all of the other subtleties or the magnitudes become lost. When you're in appreciation, you are open to things that you can appreciate. And it doesn't necessarily eliminate the other aspects. So if we look at it like, I'll use weather as opposed to people, right? So we look at the weather and you go, there's a huge storm, crazy rain, maybe your roof is leaking, whatever, like, but it is water.
Mm-hmm.
coming down.
Mm-hmm.
And that water replenishes the gardens in your home, outside your home. It replenishes all of the wells so that we actually have clear water to drink. So while there was a storm and it wasn't necessarily fun, you can appreciate the bigger energy of it, where the universe brought rain. Rain brings water. Water does so much. We can't live on this planet without water. We can't. Our bodies don't do it without water. So we can be in appreciation even when we notice certain things that aren't what we would like. Now, to be in a full place of appreciation, we take away the contrast, and now we can just be in a space where every person that walks by you is an opportunity to bring blessing in the world. We don't know what blessing they're bringing. We don't have to do the research. You don't have to track them on their cell phone.
Right.
But the beauty of their being, the soul expression, is creating blessings whether you know it or not. And you can be in the space of appreciation in that. That's like a bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
And then the smaller picture is the intimate one. So it's not really smaller, it's more intimate. It's like, what in your life, in the world, are you really appreciating?
Mm.
I really appreciate, especially now that I'm in New Mexico as opposed to on the east coast of our country,
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate the sun. Because in New England, there was way more clouds than sun. So when the sun came, it was like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Now it's like, every morning, more sun. Thank you, more sun. And it makes me feel beautiful. And I get to be able to see, huge landscapes, because in New England, when it's cloudy, you don't see much more than what's in front of you.
Right. I can hear that. I hear that.
I can just be in that simple appreciation. I can be in the appreciation, okay, this is my own personal joke. I appreciate chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I love dark, 70% organic chocolate. And every time I have a piece, I say thank you. And I really taste it. I'm in that appreciation mode. And I'm expressing something that's intimate as opposed to huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that level, that vibration of appreciation opens you to have more appreciation, to also be more appreciated because you're resonating with that vibration. And life is better when you're in the vibe of appreciation.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It isn't just the act of being appreciative. This kind of goes again to what you just said about it opening us up to more. It changes the dynamics of our energy.
Yes.
And it makes us feel lighter in some instances, freer in that respect, It gives us a certain, I almost want to use the word buoyancy.
Oh, good word.
So that we can move forward into what it is that we desire to do. And that's really important because, I'll case in point. I did an interview about a week ago, and many people probably heard it, with a gentleman who has a book that's very inspiring. It's got some great stories. I was really, really moved by it, and we're in communication, and we've got more things coming the way of this program and for our listeners and so forth. But every time I listen to the book he has written and the little sections that he has it divided into, it was as if I was given an infusion of energy. Now, it's not the kind of infusion that is short-lived. It's the kind of infusion that reminds me, as I even say in my book, I can do anything. I can do anything. And I don't have to have someone's permission to do it.
Yes.
I just can do it. And I think that a lot of people, they get stuck in this whole approval, not appreciation, but approval, seeking approval.
Yeah.
I thought about that, for example, in regards to my mother and her suggestions for the book and little things, just little subtle things that she picked up on. But yet she was very appreciative in those very comments. Gee, I learned things about you I've always wanted to know. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm very proud of the fact that I had written this book. And then I sit there reading it, and I'm going, wow, I'm enjoying reading my own book. It's the kind of, not egotistically speaking either.
No, it's true.
And I'm appreciative.
When you've written something like that, I've gone back to read some of my books that I've written as well, and it's really funny because I just look at it and go, whoa, I wrote that? Wow. Because when you're in the energy of it, it's one thing, but when you look back to reflect, you actually can appreciate more of the wisdom that you might have put on paper, but you don't recognize it, and then you recognize it on another level. And that's part of appreciation, is also appreciating yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People, and it's not ego, it's true recognition.
Right. No.
It's true recognition of who you are. And you've just written a fabulous book, and you can read it and go, oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll have another insight about what you wrote. Because after writing a book, which is always a blast, after writing a book, you grow.
Yeah.
Now you've expressed that, and you've shared it in the world, and now it's out of you and in the world, and there's that circle that comes back, because now it comes back into you. You go, oh, that's really interesting. I wrote this. I felt this way. Now when I look at it, there's something even more there.
Yeah. I will say that the challenge in reading it is that even as I am reading it and doing my best to stay focused on reading it and getting it out there, ideas come that, I need to add this. And it's like, okay, that will have to come in the revised edition.
No, that comes in book 2.
That's book 2, yeah.
Don't revise it.
No.
Add a new book.
Yeah, exactly. But it is fascinating.
I'm just making it easier for you.
I appreciate.
So you don't go back into the book. You just write a new one.
Write a new one. Write a volume 2. Absolutely.
Yes.
But it is wonderful when those thoughts come, and then there are those moments. You talk about appreciation for self, but also appreciation for that still small voice that has not only guided me, but also has guided the words that are on the page, in this case, digital or otherwise. Because when I came across the section where I talk about wisdom, you used the word wisdom a moment ago.
Yeah.
I was 20, and I had just finished sharing on a subject we were talking about from my philosophical perspective. And one of the people there said, Richard, and remember, I was 20 years old, kids.
Right.
You're wise beyond your years. I know it wasn't meant sarcastically. It was genuine.
No.
But it got me thinking, well, wait a minute. Okay, I'm only 20. I've only lived 20 years of God, hope I have 100. Will I maintain that as I get older, or will I grow into that wisdom? And I'd like to think that it isn't so much of either of those as much as it is that the more I listen and the more I question, hopefully what comes out in the context of wisdom is that it spurs other people's thought processes to think about some of these things, as we're talking about appreciation and gratitude today.
Yes. Well, and being able to have those conversations. So a lot of times people think, and you know I've written 5 books, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think that you write the book and then it sits there and people love it or get information from it or get inspired and all of those other things, and it just sits there. A book is a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a study course that you memorize and you get it right and then you move on. It's a conversation. It's a relationship. I have clients and people that I know who read one of my books. The book is called Alawashka. They read it once a year. They have been reading it once a year for 20 years. And they tell me, oh, you know, I went into this and, oh, my God, it was a completely different experience from, and they journal. It's like, okay, it obviously you can tell it kind of blows my mind.
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
But it's their ritual. At the beginning of every year, they read it, they tune into the energies. In my other book, Streams of Consciousness, now people are doing that as well. They tune into it, they feel the energy, they have a new relationship, not simply with the book, but with themselves because of the conversation of reading the book and letting the words and the energies come in and inspire them and think of new ways of doing things. And that's why we have some of the books in the world, they're classics for a reason. You know, we're not going to name classic books, but they're classics for a reason.
Right.
Because they don't just have a little story that you forget. It is continuing to inspire you. And when you're in that energy of inspiration and appreciation, the gratitude also comes into being. And gratitude is different because gratitude is usually more outside yourself. Even though you're feeling the gratitude, usually it's your gratitude, you're grateful for something out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we just had Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to really be, and that's why I have gratitude, we're talking about gratitude and appreciation.
Right.
Because gratitude, with a lot of people, gratitude has, I'm not saying I do, I'm just making, you know, the distinctions more clear.
Mm-hmm.
It has a humility to it. I am grateful for, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not making fun of it. I'm just bringing the energy so you can see the difference.
I understand, yes.
And then appreciation is, oh, I appreciate. I am so excited about. I really recognize this. So gratitude is a little bit different, but when we put them together, we create a dance, a relationship, an energy where all of the things that we can recognize, be grateful for, appreciate, and celebrate come into this dance that opens our energy fields, opens our minds, and we can create new things that we may never have even imagined before. And we can collaborate in ways that we might not have been able to see before. That's huge for us all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're talking with Lumari. I'm Richard Dugan, Reverend Dr. D, and we're here on Tell Me Your Story, talking to you and sharing with you about the aspects of appreciation and gratitude. And especially this time of the year, I often have heard the phrase over the years, Lumari, gee, if only we could continue, having that spirit of thankfulness and gratitude and so forth, and appreciation, we'll use those words, all year round. And yeah, it would be great if we had that all year round. I think, though, and not to undermine that thought by a lot of people that we wish we could. Sure, I wish we could. But I will tell you that it becomes that much more valuable when it isn't all the time. Can you imagine? Let's just use the example of the sun. What if the sun was up all the time? You'd get tired of it after, especially if you'd had experienced night and day. And now all you have is day. I remember reading, I think it was Og Mandino in one of his books talking about happy people. And in the book, The Greatest Miracle in the World, he talks about how, he says, yeah, I know of happy people, a lot of them. They're in institutions because they're happy all the time. Okay. Now, there's nothing wrong with being happy all the time.
Oh, that's funny.
But we are made up of a wide variety of different emotions and feelings and thoughts and ideas and so forth. And we need to mix those. We need to have them come up, from time to time. And
we have to recognize it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's really important that we can wish for and hope for it being more often. Okay. But I think that we will appreciate appreciation and gratitude more when it's there and then it's not. Oh, where'd it go? I want to bring it back. So we bring it back and then it disappears again. And so there's an ebb and a flow. It's cyclical. And what's great is that if we stay conscious, that's one of the things we've talked about on this program. Matter of fact, our first series back in January of this year, talking about the streams of consciousness and those vibrations, those frequencies. They're all cyclical. And we flow through them, and it's a wonderful thing. I don't know that I would want to be all the time in one, shall we say, emotional or psychological space. I want to kind of mix it up and see what the others are like.
Yes, and be able to participate and explore.
Yeah.
And even when we talk about appreciation and gratitude, there's many different levels to this.
Yeah.
In all aspects of being, when we talk about spiritual awareness, and we talk about all of the many different spiritual organizations or communities or whatever we want to call them, averting the word that begins with R.
That's fine. Go ahead.
But there's many different ways to express that. Just like the word love. Mm-hmm. There are many different ways to express love. I may love chocolate, and I love my husband in a completely different way. My love for chocolate and my love for my husband, it's still the vibration of love. He's going to crack up when he hears this. Anyway.
Well, I'll actually throw something into the mix there, unless, of course, he's wearing something that's made of chocolate. But that's another subject for another program.
No, he's not. but the energy of love is similar. But
right,
the expression of it is completely different. And when we look at gratitude, sometimes gratitude is so profound and deep that it brings us down to the ground.
Yeah.
And sometimes gratitude is so light and open that we feel like we're soaring in those frequencies.
Yeah.
that's the same in our spiritual connections as well, where one aspect of meditation brings you into quiet centeredness, where you're connected with your own being and the beauty of the lifetime you're in now. And sometimes that same space is going to bring you into the universe, circling with the stars, being absolutely amazed at everything that's there that you can't put words to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have all of that.
Mm-hmm. It's, and you know, I have, it's hard not to dive into some of these thoughts that I have as I'm reading my book about love, about the Creator, and that we were created, and this is the way I put it, we were created out of love, to be loved, and to love. Love is incomplete if there's nobody to share it with. And that's, at least from my philosophical perspective, part of the reason why we're here as human beings is to be loved. And because we are part of, I believe, the Creator, we create to share the love that we have within us. And that can come out in, again, these two attributes of appreciation and gratitude.
And also the wonderful thing about all of the I'll just call them qualities. The qualities that we're speaking about is when you're really conscious of them, then they can grow.
Right.
Then you can expand within them, and they can expand within you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So when we talk about love, we can expand in love so that it moves through us, but also it can expand in us. So what was once love, whenever the past was, now is bigger because we look at it, we experience it, we see it, we share it in another way.
Yeah.
Which means grown. And one of those things about love is that there's no limit there.
Mm-hmm.
You may notice a limit within yourself, but the frequencies of love do not have a limit.
Right. Absolutely.
They're not saying to you, okay, I'm the divine, but you're going to only have so much love, and after that, there's a tax.
I like that. That's very good. Death, taxes, death and taxes. Those are the only two constants. It reminds me of another one of those stories that I told about when I bought, with my first wife, we bought our first house. Lived in apartments, lived in a trailer, and then we moved into a house. And I remember asking the question to what you just alluded to. I asked the Creator. I asked through, my still small voice. Same difference to me. What have I done to deserve this? I mean, because people would say, "My gosh, you got a smoking deal. What did I do? What did we do to deserve this?" The answer that I got back was, nothing. I just want you to have it. I want you to have it. So my logical brain kicks in with the next question. Okay, what do I have to do to keep it? And I was blown away by the answer. Nothing. You can stay there as long as you want. Sell it.
Yeah.
It's yours to do with as you wish. And I think we forget that. We forget that in this life, when we receive blessings, when we receive abundance and prosperity, whether it's in cash or otherwise,
right.
There are so many of us who we have a hard time receiving it. I remember when my father sent us, I can't remember how much it was. He sent us a check for so many dollars. And I got on the phone and I thanked him and I said, "Well, Dad, you didn't have to do that. And he said, I know I didn't have to. I wanted to.
Yeah.
And it's like, hello, wake up. It's okay. Just all you have to do is say thank you. Whether it's a compliment, you have a great voice, or you got great hair, or whatever it was that you just did, that song you sang. Oh, that was fantastic. I used to go into explanation. Thank you.
Right.
I did this, that, and the other thing. And then I realized, you know what? You just need to say thank you and shut up. Just say thank you.
Well, and I actually call that, I have a practice that I teach, and it's called conscious thank you. Because in our world, people will just walk by and say, thank you. But there's no connection. There's no spirit in it. There's no understanding. I mean, they're being polite, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they said thank you.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you really are in a conscious space of thank you, the fullness of your being connects with whoever it is to say a real, true thank you. There's the recognition, there's the appreciation, there's the connection between you, there's the conscious vibration of awareness there. That practice of conscious thank you blows people away.
Yeah.
I have done that, just, again, nothing like huge, right? Like nobody bought me a house or anything, and, I said thank you that way. It's like, whatever it was, when somebody says, no, why don't you go in front of me? And I'll turn around and I will give them a real, conscious thank you. I've had people's mouths open like they never heard thank you before.
Yeah.
I had one person who did something for me in a store, and I turned around and I said, thank you, turn that way. She burst into tears.
Oh, wow.
Because the thank you hit her. It wasn't, and again, I'm not claiming I illuminated her, right? She experienced a thank you to the core of her being, like I was thanking her very existence, and she burst into tears.
Yeah.
But
And
see, we have that.
yeah. We do. Absolutely. We have it, and we need to acknowledge that we have it. I do find it fascinating how people will apologize for certain emotions that they have. They don't apologize when they're happy, when they're laughing, they might, but for all of the quote unquote negative emotions, there's apology. Especially tears. You see this all the time in documentaries when they're talking about something that has touched them to the core, and it moves them to tears. And they'll go, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm so sorry, can we stop? It's like, but that's part of who you are. It's okay. I mean, do you ever apologize for your left arm, or your right arm, or your left leg, or your right leg, or your left ear? Okay.
Oh, I love you.
No, of course not. But we can't, we don't want to, and we can't compartmentalize what we are made up of: body, mind, emotions, and soul. They're integrated.
And it's really interesting, yes, because what you're saying, it shows us also that there's certain things that we are trained to do, and it can be your whole group, it can be just your family who told you not to say anything and you didn't. And so later on you apologize for saying something that no one else apologizes for.
Right.
Right? Because you've been trained not to express certain things.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying not to express the good things, okay? Because, in our wisdom and our knowing, there's a lot of negative things that we really would rather that you don't express, especially in a loud, distracting way. I'm using very nice words.
And we both have people in our lives that are like that. You know, and you know what? That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way they express themselves. But in the general scheme of things, it would be nice if you could just kind of, I'm trying to lay low here. I'm really trying to lay low, not draw attention to myself, that kind of thing.
But being that, this is what's so beautiful about what you've been saying, Richard, is that being able to acknowledge that you're in that space and share it. And we're talking about caring, nurturing, loving, appreciation, grateful, respectful, joyful spaces. And if you're feeling huge emotion that's moving you, that's part of what we're describing. To be able to be you in that moment is part of what changes our world. It changes our personal life, and it changes our world. There are people who have been trained to just go to the back of the room. There are people who've been trained not to say beautiful, emotional, caring things for whatever reason. If we let that go and say, yes, be that gorgeous, loving, caring, smart, spunky person that you are, how much more would we have in the world?
Yeah, absolutely.
It would reverberate everywhere.
It would. It would, absolutely. It would make a huge difference in our world. That's why I have a friend. He is very boisterous. I mean, this man, over the years that I have known him, he has been obnoxious and irritating and frustrating. And the longer I know him and get to know him, the more I you know what? I see the little boy in him just screaming to get out, and he does. And that is how he's no longer frustrating and annoying and obnoxious. I better understand where he's coming from. I've never talked to him about this, but it's just my observation. And he is having the time of he's retired, and he is having the time of his life. And there's no way I'm going to take that away from him by saying this or that or the other thing. I mean, there was a point in time, early on in our relationship, where I said, hey, I can't do this anymore, And we actually did go our separate ways. But he then came back to me and said, hey, I need help with something. And I just kind of I acquiesced. I said, all right, I'll help you with this. And then there's another this and another this. And it's and the more of this that I did for him, the more I got to know him and understand him and realize I wish that I was him, in the sense that he has a level of freedom, being himself, not putting, he loves this time of year wearing the Santa suit, all right? So he gets to hide behind that. I did that for 10 years back in the 80s with a campaign we did at the station I was at. And I could hide. I could hide inside the suit, behind the beard and the hat.
Yeah.
But they weren't seeing me. They were seeing someone else. He is out there, and they're seeing him. And if only we all could come from that space and so forth. I know that you have something that this is part of our conversation, and you have something to share with us here on this program as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story, talking about appreciation, and gratitude, those, and I like the word you used, those qualities, and that you wanted to share with us. And I would like to open the floor up to you to share that with us now.
Oh, thank you so much, Richard. Okay, so when we think about appreciation and we think about gratitude, it's like a very gentle, moving energy, like circular waves that move in and out of us. And everybody listening right now, I want you in this moment, first, just to be open to appreciation, to the feeling of whatever it is in this moment that occurs to you that you appreciate. It can be a thing, it can be people, it can be the climate, it can be the smell of lavender. Whatever it is right now, in this moment, focus in on one thing that you appreciate. And take a nice deep breath and breathe in the appreciation like it's beautiful sea breeze that you can inhale into your being. And as you receive that appreciation and feel it, then you also send it forward. Whatever you are focusing on in that appreciation in that moment, now it's a recognition, and you send that energy back. A person, a thing, the sky, flowers, beauty and grace in the world, whatever it is. Feel that energy of appreciation flowing within you. And let it move in different areas of your being. So you might feel it open your heart. Or you might feel it in your lungs expanding. Or you might feel it where it's a true connection with this planet Earth. And then the energies of it are flowing in your body in a physical way. And it may be someplace in your energy field where you just feel the expansion of appreciation. And now you can invite more things that you appreciate to be present with you in this moment. It's not a list. It's an experience. And you'll be able to recognize them individually and collectively, whether you do it now or you do it when we're complete with this practice. And now as you experience that appreciation, now you can move into the energy of gratitude. Being in the space of gratitude for the appreciation. And now you can feel that flow in and out. The appreciation flows, and then the gratitude comes in, and it opens your heart and your being, and then you extend it outward in appreciation, and then you receive the gratitude again, and then you share the gratitude outward, and the appreciation moves inward. And you feel that flow, and you feel that dance, and you feel the beauty in your being of appreciation and gratitude in many different ways. And each time you feel this and experience it and listen to this, your experience will grow and change, and you'll be in the blessings of appreciation and gratitude. And take a nice deep breath and just bask in the deliciousness of it all.
It's a spectacular thing to open oneself up to the abundance in all areas of life that the universe has for us, the divine, the creator, however you want to phrase it. It is just absolutely astounding sometimes that I guess on the one hand, sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees. I get that. And at the same time, sometimes we just aren't 100% awake, and conscious, again, going back to streams of consciousness and those wonderful 12, 13 frequencies that we talked about at the beginning of this year. And I have to tell you, that still amazes me that it's been 11 months.
Thank you. I know.
But that's what we're talking about.
Gratitude and appreciation, dear Richard.
Yeah, absolutely. The other aspect of this, before we wrap things up, and we are going to wrap things up because I've got something very special for you folks. In the next 7 or 8 minutes, you're going to hear an excerpt from the book, Choices, 5 Steps for Life. And I hope that you'll stay with us. And I hope that you'll be inspired to go to Amazon to pick up your copy. There's hard copy, there's a hardcover, paperback, as well as Kindle. And the only reason that you'll be listening to this is because Audible is in the works. That's why you're hearing it. So stay here, stay with us. But before we do that, Lumari, I want to thank you for being a part of what we're doing here. I am very excited about, amazingly enough, the next 3 weeks, because even though there are 5 Mondays, there are only 4 Wednesdays. And we will wrap up this year on Christmas Day with a conversation here. But thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here.
Oh, it is a joy. It is an honor. And I am so thankful for you, Richard, and thank you for everybody listening. Abundance, gratitude, appreciation, and lots of smiles.
Absolutely. Please, folks, it's okay to smile. Matter of fact, I'd love to make it mandatory, but it has to be your choice. It has to be your choice. All right. Well, with that, we are going now to an excerpt from Choices, 5 Steps for Life. Once again, available at Amazon.com. There's a link at richarddugan.com. Then you click on it and boom, it takes you there. And we hope that you will join us again next Wednesday for another edition of Tell Me Your Story. And now, Choices. My life is truly worth living. I want to put down in writing my thoughts about life, living, and the process of growth. Why am I here? Who put me here? What is my purpose here? I know, with the information I have at this time, I did not create myself. Which means, to me, there is a creator, a supreme being, who created me. With what I know now, this creator, it is written, is love. With what I know about love, in order for it to be complete, fulfilled, and perfect, love needs to be given away. Well, before we can get into this physical world, the Creator had no one with whom to share or give love to. So we were created, given free will and choice. The love I speak of is unconditional love. That means love is given with no expectation, no conditions whatsoever in order to receive it, as it is given by the giver. That love is always available at all times to all people, everywhere, no exceptions. Now the Creator can be complete in purpose, to give with no expectation of receiving anything in return. The Creator gave me life, being, existence, out of love. Do you want to live or do you want to die? I'll support you in whichever choice you make. I may not like it, but I will honor you and your choice. I asked that of my wife following her cancer surgery and first chemotherapy treatment in September of 2001. I felt she needed a focal point, a goal to work toward. And no matter which direction she chose to go, I would be with her all the way. That's what this book is all about, showing you there are always choices to be made no matter your current circumstances. And it doesn't matter what others think or say. The choices you make are your choices, and you must be true to yourself. It's your life, your future, your dreams. As you read, be thinking of what you want in your life, from relationships to abundance and your life's purpose, from your heart's desire to where you want to live, work, and play. There are so many ways to discover the choices you don't know about. Investigate every one. That is a major key. The choices you don't know about. This is why education of all kinds is so important. How do you know there are other ways of living and being if you don't broaden your horizons? And when educational opportunities are kept from you, someone else is choosing for you. And yet, even in this situation, you still have choices. You've heard and seen things, and from that, you can put together the pieces that will show you those choices you don't know about. Imagine you're walking along a roadside, following the painted white line along the shoulder to the right of the roadway. A thick fog has descended upon you, as it has every day you've walked this road all your life. You were told from a very early age to follow the white line on the right side of the road until you get to the end of the pavement, and you've done that, without question, for years. Today, as you are walking along, the fog begins to change. It starts to thin and slowly lift. You can see more of the roadway in front of you. And as you scan your eyes from the right side, where the white line is, you look slowly to the left to see not only the other side of the road, but you see a fork off to the left. You stop, staring, curious, wondering where that road to the left goes. The words of your elders come roaring back in your ears. Stay to the right side of the road and follow the white line to the end of the pavement. What would you do? Follow the elders' words and ignore your curiosity? Disobey the elders and follow the road to the left. And that is the first excerpt from Choices, 5 Steps for Life. I hope you'll go to Amazon.com and pick up your copy, whether it's the hardcover, paperback, or Kindle. And as you can hear, the Audible is on its way. I hope that you will stay tuned to Tell Me Your Story. Until next time, love Talal. Jeanette, I am still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Smokey, I'll see you on the other side. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho. Aho.